Welcome to this new session of Beyond the Boundaries of Tableau. Today we are going to make the Tableau impossible possible. So first I want to thank you for coming to this session. It's the last session of the day. Yesterday people were a bit tired, I feel, so I hope today you are going to be a bit more noisy. But yes, thanks for coming to this session. I know there is a lot of other great sessions. Also, thank you if you're watching this online. My name is Tristan Guevin. I'm the co-founder of a small company of tools at DataFam. And I actually started using Tableau 10 years ago. So 10 years ago, I published my very first Tableau public visualization about a race that happened every year in the city I used to live in, Strasbourg. And 2 years after that, I went to my first Tableau conference in Las Vegas where I competed and won the R&V's competition. I created this visualization, which is quite simple compared to what people are doing right now in R&V's. I was not allowed to do any copy-pasting or any data preparation, so it was just writing every single calculation. So still proud of this viz. 2 years after that is when I started to explore more my creative side, right? So I started to create visualizations that were much more outside of the standard visualization that you see in Tableau. I created some tools that allow you to also build this kind of visualization, and that allowed me to become a Tableau visionary for the first time in 2020. That same year, I quit my job and I created La DataViz. A few years later, Jessica joined me, and now La DataViz, if you have heard of us, is just Jessica and I. So over the last 5 years, we have been developing different tools. You may have heard of AddViz, Figma to Tableau plugin, Viz extension. And in this presentation, I'm going to really focus on all of the things we built this year, so the most recent stuff, but also the stuff of the future. A lot of the presentation today are going to be forward-looking presentation, if you want to say like that. So things that are not yet released, things that may never be released, things that we should probably not release, but you are going to see that. So the agenda is going to be quite simple. Introduction, we did that already. Then the first part will be focused on visualization with the Viz extension, and the second part will be about dashboard with the authoring extension that you may have heard Matthew talk about in just a moment. Okay, so let's start with visualization. If you have been to one of my previous presentations, you may have heard me saying that a Tableau visualization is nothing more than X and Y. And it's still mostly true, but today it's a bit more complex than that. Today, we have many different tools that allow us to go beyond those boundaries of just X and Y. And we are going to start with the first demo. There's going to be a lot of demo in this presentation. A lot of things might go wrong, but we are going to get through together. So let me start with the first demo. And in this demo, we are going to start from the beginning in dual axis. So I'm going to show you the different ways the community, people, you, manage to make advanced visualization in Tableau, and how now with Viz extension, everything is much more easy. So my very first Viz of the day was a visualization about beer consumption, because I like to consume beer. And I made these beer tap charts. And actually the way you do that is, the way I did that was with dual axis. So dual axis is really I guess the first step of how you can make a bit funky things in Tableau. And this is nothing more than a bar chart and a shape that you just put together, right? For the glass visualization is exactly the same. It's a dual axis with just the shape of a glass, a small bar chart, and a reference line for the beer, and really important, the foam. Who in this room already created a donut chart in Tableau? Yeah, almost everyone, right? So you know that it's just a pie chart and a circle that you put one on top of each other, and it makes a donut. For most of you, it makes sense. It's like, yes, that's a donut. But I don't know if you already teach Tableau to someone, and for the first time that you have to explain, you want to make a donut, it's OK. You just need to put max of 0 and another max of 0, and then put them together to create the illusion of a donut. And even though for most of you it makes sense, it's not really intuitive, right? So the first demo of our Viz extension that I'm going to load. Yes. To make a donut chart in Tableau since 2024.2, you can use the donut Viz extension. So if you want to do that, you can simply use segment in section. You can use sales in angle, and you have a donut. You can put segment in color and sales in KPI, and you have your donut chart. Let me just increase a tiny bit the inner radius, and That's it. So this is no calculation, no dual axis, anything. And this is not rendered by Tableau. So it's rendered with D3 that is rendering inside Tableau. But it does look and feel like any other Tableau visualization. I have the highlight, I have the tooltip, I can click, I can keep only, exclude, and I can see the view data, right? So this is just as if it was a Tableau Viz extension. It reacts to your filters. You can use it as a filter in other worksheet. It's a Tableau visualization. Okay. Second step is data densification and polygons. Who already created a Sankey diagram with data densification? Okay, a bit less people. So the usual techniques was to densify your data, and this is an example by Ken Flurledge. And if I open one of the flow, you see those flow, right? You see that we have something in column that I can show, but it's not really helping us. It's from -6 to 6 and from 0 to 1. Okay, you see that it's a polygon, that it has a path, and if I actually convert my polygon to circles, you see the tricks. You see that this is nothing more than 882 different marks that is just creating the illusion of a shape, creating the illusion of these smooth lines. So once you convert that to a polygon with the path, you have the flow. Okay. Today, I think I need to reload them every time. Today with Sankey diagram, extension, you can simply put, let's put our category, let's put our segment, and let's put our shape. No data densification, the Sankey diagram just loads. You could put sales in size. And with this extension, we also have this new button that is called format extension that allow us to change many things, and this is the options that we want to give you. So you can change, for example, the padding. You can change the node width if you want. You can change the color and maybe use, let's have really simple color right here. Yep. Like this. Yep. And because this is not a Tableau visualization, we can also do things that you would not be able to do with Tableau at all. For example, take the different nodes and move them around to place them exactly where you want, right? Because this is not rendered by Tableau. And of course, at any point, you can say reset position, and we go back to normal. Okay, third step, map layers. Who already used map layers to do some advanced things? Still a good amount of people. So I've seen this example of a gauge chart by Jeremy Knott, who used map layers to make a gauge chart. So for those who don't know, map layers normally is just a way to layer things on a map. So you have a country, you have a state, you have a city, and you can create different layers to show this information. But you can also make gauge chart with map layers. So if we look at how this is done, you will see that we still have latitude and longitude in rows and columns. But if you look at the marks, we have a Gantt chart, we have a circle, we have some text, and we have a polygon, that all of that stack on top of each other make a gauge chart. The funny thing is, if you unzoom, you actually see that my gauge chart just lives in Null Island right below the coast of Africa. But it's possible to do these kind of things, right? So it still involves a lot of different calculations. This requires you to understand very well how the X and Y positioning of your all of your polygons and elements work. So it requires a lot of mathematical expression, a lot of calculations. So today with the gauge extension that we have, you can simply, let's take sales, put it in value. Let's take profit just to have a target. Let's put profit in target. And you can, in format extension, change how many sections you want. Let's get 3. You can change the color of those sections. Let's put some nice blue. You can change the style of the gauge chart. You can change the style of the needle. You can change many, many things. Please say thank you to Jessica for adding all of these options. She really went through a lot of detail to do all of that. And then we have a gauge chart without any calculation. Again, with just 2 drag and drop, just sales. Actually, it could be just 1 if we didn't have the target. So we can create these kind of things. Okay. A few years ago, we created something called AdViz. Who use AdViz to create anything? Okay, a few people. So for those who don't know, AdViz is a free online tool that we created, like I said, a few years ago. And we created this because even though we have dual axis and we have map layers and we had data densification, there were still some charts that you could not do in Tableau while staying inside Tableau. And an example is a network diagram. The network diagram is a procedural chart, so it requires an algorithm that will recalculate the position of all of your nodes until it reaches a state of, how can you say that, a state of, it's in its final state, let's say. So in this network, you see if I click number of links, it recalculates the things. If I change the force, it will recalculate and readjust all of my nodes until they reach that state. If I want that in Tableau, I could click to download to Tableau Desktop, and I will have that network diagram exported to Tableau automatically, right? So it's a really great tool that, and we are really proud of this tool. A lot of people have used it to create a visualization on Tableau Public. So we have a gallery that shows all the visualization that the people have created with this tool. We have at least, I think we have around 40 views of the day that were built thanks to AdViz. So it's a really good tool, but you need it to go on our website, input your data, export the result, and if you needed to change anything, you needed to put your data again and re-export, right? So it was not connected to your data. The second thing is, this is just one example of a visualization that I created using this tool. The end result was still a Tableau visualization. It was still, in that case, dual axis with your circles and your lines, right? So just standard Tableau stuff. And if we look at this other example, again, a network with a bit fancier highlighting. This one was built using map layers. Again, you have latitude, longitude, and then the different layers of the shapes. Okay, again, now we have these extension. So these extension allow you to do, again, network diagram without having to prepare the data, and you can stay at Tableau at any point. So let me put category in source, let me put manufacturer in target, and now we have our network. I can zoom out a bit. I can put sales in size, and we have our network in Tableau that without leaving Tableau space, right? And better than that, better than even AdViz that we had, since this is inside Tableau, you can now move the nodes around and interact with the network while staying in Tableau, right? So you can really say, I want my network to be exactly like that, and it will stay in that position. Yeah, it's quite cool. So I just show you with through different examples with the donut, the Sankey, the network, and the gauge, how these extensions can now allow you to build things much more easier than you used to do them with the previous techniques. And just to continue, we are going to make a small dashboard together. For example, you can have a radar chart by simply putting subcategories in spoke and sales in value. And since this is connected to Tableau, if I sort my subcategory by field, it will also be automatically sorted, right? And again, I can click. It's completely interactive. It's completely connected to Tableau. Now, I don't know if you already made a KPI cards in Tableau where you actually want to compare with the previous year value. So you need a calculation for the value when it's positive, when it's negative, so they change color. And then you need to create another worksheet to have the evolution. And it's always a bit difficult to do that. So we thought, OK, instead of just a Viz extension, we could make still a Viz extension, but that does a bit more than just a chart, right? So we created the KPI count extension, and I just put sales in KPI. Let's just put our order date in time, and let's say that we want the order date as months, okay? Automatically, we have our big ass number with the last month, the comparison versus last month, and the trend line. If I add profit, just for the sake of it, in target, I will also have the target calculation automatically. And if I click on Format Extension, I can, of course, change the title, the colors. I can also change the chart type automatically to maybe a bar chart, and why not with rounded corners. Okay, so this is just an example of, without any calculation, just the extension itself make all of those calculations for you. Now, you can also make things that are not even visualization. So this is another example of it's going to be not the last, but one of the last Viz extension, which shows a drill down filter. So I'm just going to put all of my location dimension, and we have our drill down extension. Okay, so just a drill down to go from the country to the state to the city. But right now it's not doing very much, right? Just let me zoom in a bit so you can see. It's just like a drill down extension. Now I'm going to go to the dashboard that we just that we built by making all of those visualizations. This is what we just created. But now in these dashboards, I can use this filter because I just put a dashboard actions, and I can filter my dashboard with this nice drill down extension, right? This KPI cards extension is also completely interactive. So if I click on any months, it will also filter the rest of my dashboard, right? So we just created this dashboard that without this extension will take you probably a few hours to build with the data identification, with all the calculation, and we just did it in the last 2 or 3 minutes. So that's the power of this extension, and that's how you go beyond the boundaries of visualization. Okay, so just as a recap, when we explore dual axis polygons map layers, that were the old techniques to make advanced chart in Tableau, not necessarily very intuitive, not interactive, and that will not allow you to create things like network. We show you just really quickly the tool that we created a few years ago that were a bit more intuitive and procedural at this. And finally, we reach the final version of advanced chart in Tableau, which is this extension, which are, in my opinion, very intuitive, procedural, interactive, and is connected to your data. But what is the catch? Anyone knows what is the issue with this extension at the moment? The issue is you cannot publish to Tableau Public. And that's why you don't see a lot of people using them and making viz of the day with this extension. So let me show you why they are not yet available on Tableau Public, or why they were not available on Tableau Public. So we are going to go from beyond the boundaries to breaking the boundaries of visualization. And starting now, this presentation is going to take a completely different turn. And well, you are going to see we are going to do a bit crazy stuff. So let me open my web browser. And the first demo is not that crazy. It's something that we already built, I think at least once, which is a viz extension that is connected to OpenAI, okay? So we put in our dimension subcategory, and in our measure, we put profit, discount, and sales. The extension is not showing any visualization, but it's asking you to select a few things or ask your questions. So for example, if I say analyze data, it will send the data that I have drag and drop to OpenAI, and it will answer with what is the top profit performer, what is the lowest profit, what is the highest sales, just textual information about the data that you just drag and drop. If I ask for chart advice, it's going to look at the data and be given the data set, you should do a horizontal bar chart, and or a scatter plot could also work, and this is how to build it in Tableau. You can also ask for smart insight, a CEO summary, some storytelling, or for today, I have a small surprise. So for the surprise, we are going to use the data that we drag and drop to generate a song, because that's another way to learn about your data set, right? Yesterday, we did a punk rock London song, but someone, I think it was Simon, suggested, what about a 90s, old school, jazzy, boom, bap, rap? Let's generate the song. And the first thing that this extension is going to do is to generate some lyrics for any song. So, okay, you step into the rhythm with accessories glide, profits shining bright, like some smooth jazz rides. We have something about tables, I guess, because tables are always the issue. Let me just search tables. Yes. But watch out for tables, slipping down low, discounts climbing high, profits feeling the blow. So you have actually some nice rhymes, right? So let's put, let's put that aside for the moment, and let's come back to it in a few moments. Okay. The second example is called Maybe I Should Not. Maybe I should not, because this is a pie chart extension, right? No. And if I put subcategory in color, you actually can see my, lost the connection to Tableau. Let's just reload. I guess this is still going, yes. Let's put subcategories to color. Okay, we still have our pie chart. And if I click on format extension, I can explode my pie chart, okay? Not the best. And if I do that, I actually have a 3D moving that pie chart that you can move around, and it's still a Tableau visualization. So if I click on something, I can still keep only or exclude. I can still view my data, but we just created a 3D pie chart in Tableau. Take that, Power BI. So the next example is called "What are you even doing?" Because those were all built late in the night. So this is a simple bar chart about sales by subcategory. And people have always said that it would be nice to be able to switch from a light theme to a dark theme in Tableau, right? So let me show you something cool. So just by clapping my hand, I can change the color of the visualization. It's called "What are you even doing?" I don't know, but I still find it fun. The last example is the pubs and bar noise index by city. So the visualization is there, right? You can see the tooltip, but in order for you to see it, well, this viz reacts to noise. So you need to make some noise for you to read it. Very good, thank you. So let's go back to our song. It's still generating some music. Hopefully, we'll be good. We'll be done soon. Yes, 2 songs are ready. Let's listen to them.
Yo, step into the rhythm where accessories glide. Profit shining bright like that smooth jazz ride. Discount low, but the sales they rise. Crafting steady wins, no compromise. Appliances hum with a heavier discount vibe. Profit playing steady while the numbers jive. They ain't the loudest, but they hold their ground. In this market symphony is steady.
So I have actually 2 songs. I will download them and send you if you want to listen to a rap about Sample Superstore. Okay, so let's not close that for the moment, but that is some example of how you can break the boundaries of Tableau. So I hope you had a bit of fun. And the main reason I want to show you that, outside of the funs and giggles and everything, is what I just did is I made a viz extension that is listening to what you are saying while you are inside Tableau, right? It's a bit scary also if you think about it, right? So that's why these extensions were not available on Tableau Public. That's why we needed a trust layer between what we are building and all the crazy things we can do and something that is running inside Tableau. So really, the discussions we had with Tableau over the last year was, okay, condition 1, our extensions will need to be hosted by Tableau. That is the only way that they can be on Tableau Public and that people can use them. Tableau controls the environment. Tableau read our code and verify that everything that we do is correct. And for us also, in terms of hosting cost, we could not allow to just host the extension for all the millions of people who are using Tableau Public. So for us, it was also very important. The second condition, and I'm talking for the very few people who care about that, before we could not identify where this extension was running in Tableau Public or Tableau Cloud or Tableau Server. For the viz extension, it was just the same. So for us, it was an issue in terms of licensing because we want our extensions to be free on Tableau Public, but we still want, it's still a product that we are selling to clients. So we needed to be like, okay, we want them for free on Tableau Public and we want them paid on Tableau Cloud and Server. So the good news is those conditions are now met. So if I open Tableau again, my visualization is right here. Let's do the final viz extension of the day. If I now click to marks and I say add extension, you will find new buttons here, viz trusted partner. And this is viz extension that are hosted by Tableau that we have built. So if you look at, for example, the Globe Pass extension, you can create something like that. And shout out to the DataFam Slam yesterday when they also did like a flight pass in Tableau. This is a 3D globe that you can move around to see your flight pass. That you can also have a color by type and maybe the size in size. And that you can also animate so you can see the movement of your flight pass in the globe. But the good thing, the main thing that I want to show you on top of that extension is that today, this is running live on Tableau Public. So you can now publish every extension on Tableau Public. Yes. So all of our 17 extensions are right now available and are 100% free on Tableau Public and Tableau Desktop. So go ahead, try to start using them and build your next visualization. OK, that's the first part of the presentation. That was the normal part. Now we are going to enter to more crazy part. So we are going to now focus on dashboards. So dashboards, if you have come to one of my previous presentations, you may have heard me saying that a Tableau workbook is nothing more than an XML file. And it's still mostly true. If you open the TWIB, the TWB, you will see something like that, which explains everything about your Tableau workbook in an XML format. This allows us, for example, to build the Figma to Tableau plugin, where you can design your viz in your dashboard in Figma and then export it automatically to Tableau, because we are recreating all of the XML in Tableau from your Figma design. So that is good, but today a Tableau workbook can be more than just an XML file. And the first way it can be more is through dashboard extension. We don't have any dashboard extension. Just shout out to some of the other partners who have built really great dashboard extension. And what you can do with dashboard extension is get all the dashboards and worksheet data. You can apply filters, get the parameters value, set the zone visibility. And at the end, you can also create a web app in your dashboard that will do something with the data that you collect. So that is already quite good. But what you cannot do is add or remove elements. So you cannot say add an image, add a button, add a worksheet. And you cannot modify the content. So you could not change the color of your dashboard, change the text or anything. Mostly you would get some data and do something in a web container that was in your dashboard. At last, TC, Matthew Miller, introduced during Devs on Stage Labs the new authoring extension API. And I was lucky to be one of the 4 pilot participants who was tasked to try to build something with that new API. And what I want to show you is the demo that I created for that purpose. So let's close this. And let's open our auto layout. So this demo, you have 3 different worksheets. And you want to make a dashboard, right? Usually when you need to make a dashboard, you need to put all of your containers, your buttons, your text, and everything. And what we created is a small extension that is called auto layout. That you will select the name. So let's put hello DataFam. We say we want navigation button, we want to apply our style, we want to add a filter panel. You select the layout that you want to create, and then you say generate dashboard. And now you can just let the extension do its work, and it will create the dashboards automatically, putting all of the worksheet, putting the buttons, putting the style and everything, and you have just created an entire dashboard with buttons without touching your mouse and keyboard. Thank you. So this, what can you do with authoring extension? Well, you can recreate any desktop user interaction with code. So anything that you click, anything that you drag and drop, anything that you modify, I can send a command to Tableau that does that action, but through code. So really good. On a more recent version of this extension, we are now able to get the entire workbook as a JSON file, make change to that JSON file, and then send it back to the workbook to apply the change. It might sound a bit weird, a bit confusing. Let me show you a few more demos. My demo are here. So, yes, this one. Okay. So this is a workbook, and I'm almost at the end of my. I'm almost close to being able to publish it. I just want to do the final, the last final 10 things that you need to do before publishing. So this workbook has 4 different dashboards, and we are going to open a new extension right here that is called Desktop Wizard. Just changed the name yesterday. So this extension that is now running in my Tableau workbook will allow me to do multiple things. One of the things is, in this dashboard order details, I have all of my filters that are as list. And I don't know you, but I never want them like that. I always want them as multiple value drop-down and an apply button, right? So now what I can do is select my order details dashboard and say I want all of my filters as multiples value dropdown with an apply button. And when I click apply change, it reloads my workbook. And now if I look at order details, they are all as multiple value dropdown with an apply button. I see someone who got excited. Yeah, it's really cool, right? So that just saves you a lot of clicks, and you can do that through your entire workbook. The next part is, I really hate when I almost finish my dashboard and I publish it, and then I look at the workbook and I still have calculation 1, calculation 2, or sheet 1, sheet 2, because I forgot to rename them. So the workbook summary will look at all of the calculated fields, all the worksheets, all the dashboard that are in your workbook. And you can ask to show only the fields that start with calculation and show only the worksheets that start with sheet. And yeah, I do have 2 of them. I have a calculation that is called calculation 1 that does the dat diff between order date and dispatch date. So let's call that time to dispatch directly in the extension. And we also have a worksheet that is called sheet 1 that is used in one dashboard, which is shipping. So let's go to shipping. And if I look at it, it is sheet 1, and is this one, right? So this one is called sheet 1, and I think we can call it maybe shipping, shipping status trend, something like that. And then again, without leaving the extension, I can say apply renames, and that will automatically rename all of my worksheets and all of my calculation inside my workbook. So now if I go to shipping, I do have this that is called shipping status trend. And if I look at my calculation, I do have time to dispatch instead of calculation 1. The last thing, and I'm almost close, and usually at this point, I'm like, okay, all the work is done. I'm ready to publish. I publish, and someone called me and said, Tristan, you don't know how to write English correctly, and you made a lot of spelling mistakes. So what we added also is spell check in Tableau Desktop. So the way this works is going to look at all of the text elements that are in your worksheets, in your dashboard, and in your calculated field. And at any point, you can say, OK, my language is English. Check the spelling. It's going to call an AI that is going to go through each and every text element. And I can ask to show only the items with issue. And I do indeed have some issue. So I wrote executive overview. So let's change that to overview. And I also made another issue. I wrote enter new quota without a U. Okay, so I can add a U. And I can see the suggestion here that is suggesting me that I should write it like that. And if I look at my workbook, actually I can see the mistake is right here. And in my commission model, it is right here, right? So with that, again, without leaving the extension itself, I can say apply the change. And again, it's going to send the new JSON file. And if I look at my new workbook, I do have now the spelling mistakes corrected. So this dashboard wizard, the way we think about it is, all of the small annoying things that are in your Tableau desktop and that as Tableau developer you still need to do. Well, we try to make something with this new authoring extension that will allow you to bulk edit all your filters, correct your sheet names, correct your spelling issue, all of that without leaving Tableau. Do you like it? Yeah, okay. Okay. So with this extension, like I said, you can do a lot of things, but again, there is a catch. And the catch is you cannot use it because this is an API that is completely, how can I say it, in beta, really not accessible to a lot of people, and just they have been asking us to see what are the potential, what could we do with this. So if you like what you see today, try to find Matthew Miller and tell him like, yeah, we really want authoring extension to arrive to Tableau because we just saw an awesome presentation. Okay, I have one final demo for you. This demo is, again, I'm getting a bit nervous. We are going to go from beyond the boundaries of Tableau to this time breaking the boundaries of dashboards. So let me show you something that most people thought it was impossible to do in Tableau. So here I have 2 Tableau files. One is called tab 1, one is called tab 2. This is 2 different Tableau workbooks. For the sake of this demo, I have to do it on my computer, but I want you to imagine that tab 1 and tab 2 are on 2 different computers. So let me connect to my extension, which is called, it's not called Tab Mirror, it's called Tab Sync. And let's put it right here. And let's add another extension, the same extension that we are going to add right here. And let me put it, so we are connected to the same. And now if I put, for example, my sales and my product categories, we actually have synchronized two Tableau versions. We have made Tableau collaborative. Thank you. So if I go now to tab 2 and I say, no, I want to swap the column and sort it will sort it in the tab 1. If tab 1 say, actually, I want the colors like this, it will change the color like that. If you say, no, actually, I want my colors to be something different and apply, then it will change it for the other extension, etc. Right? So it's like a Google Sheet. It's like a Figma that multiple people can work on the same Tableau file. Now, I was showing that, and some people came back and be like, actually, there is a lot of good use case for that. And I think one, if you have been teaching Tableau, it's always really frustrating when you have users and you don't know if they missed a step or if they are in a different position than you. So at any point, you can say, OK, let's stop the synchronization. And this Tableau is going to maybe, let's do something. Let's add the order date. So we have the evolution, and let's remove the color, something like that. And then once you are ready, once you want everyone to synchronize again to the same position, you can say force, save, and push. So this is going to push the last version that you're using, and this one can say, OK, sync now, and it should go back to my line chart, right? So you can make sure that everyone is making their own change, but at any point you can be, OK, now let's all synchronize to the same version. And that across not 2, but across 3, 4, 5, or 6, or 7 extensions. So this is like a really early stage demo. This is just to show you what is possible. I hope you got excited, as we are. OK, we are almost at the end. Just to conclude, I just want to tell you that if you want to participate to build the future of Tableau and Tableau Desktop and all the other tools, you can join the Tableau Developer Program. This is how you get access to all the API. This is how you learn how to build all the cool things that you saw today. If you want to follow what we are doing, when are we releasing those things, the mistakes we do, our life journey, you can follow this, you can scan this QR code. You will have access to our link tree where you find all of our social media and also our newsletter. We try to send an email almost like, let's say, once every 2 weeks with updates about the new tools we release, the new things we think. So yeah, this is the best way to follow our work. OK, I am Tristan Lievin. I'm working with Jessica Bautista. We are the only 2 people at La Data Viz, and it was a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you a lot.